I have an economic question, okay? As a country or the worldwide, everyone's talking about energy and economics, and it doesn't seem that enough people are paying attention to, for instance, okay, let me switch. The national debt. All the politicians in this country are talking about 14 trillion. Let's raise the debt ceiling. And my question to you today is, as I'm eventually going to be a grandfather when my kids get married and have kids, you don't want to have a country or the worldwide in debt that you can't pay for. So my question to you is, what do you see about our country's national debt at $14 trillion? Do you see us ever paying that off? And what I don't understand is a country that prints their money and assigns the value thereof, how could you be in debt to yourself? That's my question.
Well, it is a complicated question that we could spend a long time unraveling as you and we and others even try to define the current what is. Rather than do that, and we will if you want, we'll go there a little bit if you want to, but we want to lay it out in a different way first, because it is our expectation that we can bring you into alignment more easily through this approach, and if not, we'll dig into it the way you're asking. So let's talk about the debt. Let's talk about the irresponsibility of it. Let's talk about the lack of attention to detail. Let's talk about so many people with so many fingers in so many pies and so much red tape and involvement that things just get totally out of hand. Let's talk about a government that is spending more than it is taking in and seemingly paying no attention. Now, we got very specific as we're picking up on the vibration of what's bothering you. And so we're off in this rather detailed and negative place. Now, one of the things that we really want you to understand is that in every attention to what is not wanted, there is an equivalent bounce of what is wanted. And while it is often unsatisfying to someone who's living a reality that is unwanted, we want you to know that there is a vibrational reality of prosperity that is born, but it's vibrational. And a lot of people say, so vibrational is not much better than the government just printing money. In other words, vibrational isn't something that is tangible yet. And we say, we want you to not underestimate the power of what's in this vortex, because what's in the vortex is the future manifestation. The question is, how future is it? How far into the future is what is in the vortex? How far in the future, how much buffer of time is it going to take before what's in this vortex is allowed to manifest by the people who are participating? Well, what we've noticed is that you don't have to explain it to everyone or even to anyone. When you understand that what is in the vortex is yours to claim at any time that you want, then you begin to recognize that there are people who always thrive in the worst of times, just like there are people who never thrive in the best of times. In other words, the overall economy, while we acknowledge that the better the economy is doing, the better people feel, but that's because most people are offering most of their vibrational offering in response to what they're observing. So if they're observing booming times, then their vibration is more about booming times, so they allow more booming for themselves. If they're observing busting times, then their vibration is more about busting, and so they deprive themselves of more. And we think it would be nice, we think it is nice when more and more of you are developing your relationship with what's really the reality, instead of letting what is be your knee-jerk response, you see. Esther remembers us some time ago as a question came up about energy. Many years ago, in her first interactions with Abraham, the question of energy was coming up. And we were explaining that there is no shortage of energy, that with the resources that exist upon your planet and the mixing up of relationships and ideas that are being born, that there will always be someone in an allowing place to receive the idea and have the wherewithal to put it into motion, that things will always be working out for you. So we know that You can watch CNN, or you can read the news feeds, and you can get yourself focused upon negative things that are happening, and you can be one of the masses who consistently or chronically holds yourself in vibrational resistance to the well-being that is burgeoning. But it is our promise to you that just as now, Esther saw a documentary the other day where there are some cells that are not much bigger than that table that are running FedEx buildings and Walmart buildings, that it is a piece of sand that is between these wafers, and it is painted on both sides of it, and the chemical response or the response is producing current or electricity. They are not fuel cells. There's something beyond fuel cells. And she began to laugh as she realized that the technology has moved into the place where whatever you want will always be there for you. You're not trucking in other resources from other planets, and yet the resources that you are needing to create anything that you're wanting are right here, because if this time-space reality has the wherewithal to produce a desire within you, even if you are the only person who is receiving the idea to produce the desire, it is our promise to you that this time-space reality has the wherewithal to deliver the full-blown manifestation. If it can be a vibrational reality, and you have contributed a very powerful one here today, the wherewithal to create that vibrational reality into manifestation is sure. The question is, how soon? And we say, we don't want that to matter, because we don't want the way you feel to be dependent upon them all figuring it out. If you can say to yourself and really mean it, I don't need them to figure it out and get it all fixed and flowing before I can feel better. I can feel better because I have the vision and I have the dream and I know about the vortex and I can line up with it. You follow? Mm-hmm. We were visiting with a woman some time ago who had arthritis in her hips. And she was really uncomfortable, experiencing a lot of pain. And she said to us, Abraham, I hear you and I get it that I need to think more positive thoughts. But she said, it's really hard to feel positive when my body hurts so much. What should I do? And we said, well, if you can hear us when we say that it's possible to have pain in your body and feel hopeful at the same time, or you can have pain in your body and feel fearful. But the vibrational difference between fear and hope is the difference between recovery or not. So we're essentially saying the same thing. You can be experiencing an economic downturn of global proportions, but if you don't let the reality that is be the controller of your vibrational relationship to the correspond, you see, the worse the economy is, the bigger the bounce and the more the vibrational reality is burgeoning with ideas. We have never seen a more robust vibrational reality ever before. This is a leading edge vibrational reality. And the reason that we visit with you is to help you individually and collectively claim what you've put there, you see. Claim what you've put there. But you can't claim what's in the vortex and claim what's happening at the same time, because they're contradictory vibrations. And you can tell by the way you feel, by your optimism, by your certainty, by your security, by your sense of well-being, by your understanding that the next generation and the next and the next and the next and the next and the next. Do you know that in the same way that this bounce in this vortex, that the energies coming into the new bodies are coming from this vibrational stance, not from the what is vibrational stance. That's why there's always a generation gap. New ones coming forth are reluctant to accept your assessment, your negative assessment of what is. They're born optimistic because they come from the vortex where optimism reigns, you see. So as individuals, all you got to do for your own personal thriving is make your claim on what's there, which requires, and we know it is not an easy thing to accomplish, but if you hear what we're saying today, you may decide to do it anyway. You just got to give up the what isness, because what is doesn't mean diddly squat. The real deal is what you're asking for. The real deal, the world that is coming. And sometimes we've been watching you as we've been talking about, this is real time. This is now reality. What's in the vortex is now. What's in the vortex is now. And we've noticed that sometimes this vortex feels so futuristic to you, especially when you're talking about global events. It's hard to imagine things turning around. That the buffer of time is sort of a point of discouragement in and of itself. And it is our desire that as a result of the conversations that we're having together here today, that you will realize that this buffer is not as long time-wise, that it really has nothing to do with time. It only has to do with those like you coming into alignment with it now. And you know, if one who's in alignment is more powerful than millions who are not, it doesn't take much believing in the robustness of the vortex to turn your personal thriving around. And it doesn't take too many of you personally thriving before the 100th monkey thing kicks in and people all around the world begin to get it too, you see. Good time for a segment of refreshment.